Hungarian Folk Tales. Brave Prince Nick. Once upon a time, in a land far away, there was a king. And the king had 3 daughters. Every morning he took a walk in the forest with his daughters, until one morning when a large black cloud appeared in the sky. "King, you must give me your eldest daughter, or else I will snatch the sun from the sky." Then the king said, "If you are a good spirit, come down. If you are a bad spirit, go away." So off the cloud went, and it took the sun with it. The next morning they went for a walk again, and the black cloud appeared again. "King, give me your middle daughter, or else I will take the moon from the sky." The king did not do as the cloud demanded, and so it took the moon. On the 3rd day, the cloud appeared again. "King, give me your youngest daughter, or else I will steal all the stars." The king did not obey, and so it stole the stars. The world was ruled by darkness. One day, Prince Nick went down to the courtyard for water with his younger brother. "Brother, I would bring back the sun, the moon, and all the stars if the king would give me half of his kingdom and his youngest daughter's hand in marriage." The king heard what the prince said, and he sent for him, saying, "Look, my boy, if you do not do as you suggested, I shall have you executed. Give me a good sword, your majesty, and I shall set forth." And off he went through 7 lands. Eventually he came to a silver forest, and there he found a silver bridge. He struck the bridge, and a plank came loose. Then a dragon rode up on a horse, and the horse stumbled. The dragon said, "May dogs drink your blood. I have crossed this bridge for 3 years, but my horse has never stumbled. What happened? Fire for me, water for you, both of us must perish." The dragon climbed down from his horse and said, "Prince Nick, come out from your hiding place under the bridge. I have known you since you were no bigger than a seed, that I would have to do battle with you. How shall we fight? Wrestling, sticks, or swords? Wrestling is for dogs, sticks are for swineherds, swords are for heroes." And they began to fight. They fought and fought until Prince Nick cut off 2 of the dragon's heads. "Prince Nick, spare my last head, and I will return all the stars to you." "Where are they?" "There, under my saddle. Take them." Prince Nick took the stars from under the saddle, chopped the dragon's last head off, and walked away. He soon reached a golden forest. There he went up to a golden bridge. He struck the bridge with his sword. 2 planks broke off, and he hid himself under the bridge. The 7-headed dragon appeared, and its horse stumbled. "I have crossed this bridge for 7 years, but my horse has never stumbled. Why does it do it now? Fire for me, water for you, both of us must perish. Prince Nick, come out from your hiding place under the bridge. I have known since you were no bigger than a seed that I would have to do battle with you. How shall we fight? Wrestling, sticks, or swords? Wrestling is for dogs, sticks are for swineherds, swords are for heroes." They fought and fought until at last Prince Nick cut off 6 of the dragon's heads. "Prince Nick, spare my last head, and I will return you the moon. It is under my saddle." Prince Nick took the moon out and put it with the stars, and then he chopped off the dragon's last head. He walked, and soon Prince Nick arrived at the diamond forest. He went to the diamond bridge and struck it with his sword. 3 planks broke off, and he hid himself. A dragon appeared with 12 heads, and its horse stumbled on the bridge. "What happened? I have never stumbled in all 12 years. Fire for me, water for you, both of us must perish. I have known since you were no bigger than a seed that I would have to do battle with you. How shall we fight? Wrestling, sticks, or swords? Wrestling is for dogs, sticks are for swineherds, swords are for heroes. They fought and fought until Prince Nick cut off 11 of the dragon's heads. Prince Nick, spare me my last head, and I shall give you the sun. It is there, under my saddle. The dragon had a horse with only 3 legs, but that horse could run faster than any horse with 4. Prince Nick put the stars and the moon under the saddle, mounted the horse with 3 legs, chopped the dragon's last head off, and rode away. As he was riding out of the forest, a little man spoke to him from the top of a tree. Prince Nick, do you really think that the sun, the moon, and the stars are yours to keep? Of course. Who else should have them? Me. Prince Nick climbed the tree to do battle with the little man. While he was climbing, the little man jumped down into the saddle of the horse with 3 legs, and he rode off. Prince Nick climbed down and followed him, and as he was walking, he met a man. The man was crying. Why are you crying? I'm crying because if I open my eyes, I can see through the world but see no further. Come with me, and you will be able to use your eyes again. They walked on and met another man who sat crying. Why are you crying? I'm crying because if I take one step, I will step over the world, but then can step no further. Come with us, and you will be able to step again. As they walked, they reached a house where the little man lived. But he was not at home. Then Prince Nick said to the first man, "Have a good look around and try to find the little man with the long beard. I can see him. He is sitting on top of a willow tree in the middle of the sea." "Catch the little man for me," he told the second man. And the second man took one step, caught the little man, and took him to Prince Nick by his beard. Then Prince Nick took the sun, the moon, and the stars away from him. He let the stars fly up into the sky, and they lit his way home. And as he journeyed, he let the moon go too, and as he grew close to home, he released the sun, so that he would arrive back in the bright daylight. When the 3 young men arrived home, the king gave them his daughters, and he granted Prince Nick half his kingdom. They had a wonderful wedding, and they all lived happily ever after. Hungarian Folk Tales. The Jackdaw Girls. Once there lived a mother who had 12 daughters. The 12 girls were very unruly and each had a big mouth. They were always quarrelling with each other. There was never any peace in the house, and one day their mother decided that enough was enough, and so she said, "My ears are full with your quarrels. All of you should turn into jackdaws." They flew through the open door with such haste that they nearly poked her eyes out with their wings. They left the house and took to the air. They disappeared in a westerly direction. The mother became very sad as she missed her daughters very much, but there was nothing to be done. Then she discovered that she was expecting a baby, and when the time arrived, she gave birth to a healthy baby boy. When the boy became a little older, he began to ask his mother, "Mother, have I never had a sister or a brother?" And his mother replied, "I have never had any other child except for you, my boy." But later on, the boy heard the talk in the village that he used to have 12 sisters who turned into jackdaws and flew away forever. "Mother, I have heard in the village that I used to have 12 sisters. I will not rest until I find them all." His mother tried to keep the boy at home, but to no avail. So then she filled a sack full of food and let him leave. As the boy was walking, he caught sight of a hermit's shack in the distance, and he arrived there just as the sun was setting. An old woman lived in the little shack, and he had never seen an older woman in his life before. He greeted her. "Good day, old lady." "You are fortunate that you greeted me politely, or else I would have eaten you up. What are you doing in this place that has never been seen by man or beast before?" The boy then told the old woman that he was searching for his 12 sisters who had turned into jackdaws and flown away. "Good. In the morning we shall make inquiries about them." Then she made supper for the boy and they went to sleep. Early the next morning, the old woman stood outside with the boy beside her and she blew hard on an old whistle. All the reptiles of the world gathered around in a matter of moments. The old woman asked the reptiles about a flock of jackdaws that never mixed with the other birds. None of the reptiles had any useful answers to her questions, and so the old woman ordered the reptiles to go home. So they all slithered away. The boy bid farewell to the old woman and left her. After a day's walk, he again arrived at a hermit's shack. He entered the shack and saw an old woman even older than the first. "Good evening, old lady," he said. "You are fortunate that you greeted me politely, otherwise I would have ordered bears to tear you apart. What are you doing in this place that has never been seen by man or beast before?" The boy told her the aim of his search. "Good. Maybe tomorrow morning we shall learn something more about your sisters." The boy went to bed and soon fell fast asleep. The next morning, the old woman stood outside the front door with the boy and blew hard on an old whistle. All the four-legged beasts of the world gathered around the house in a matter of moments. "Do you know anything about 12 jackdaws that always fly alone?" "We know nothing of such birds and we have never heard of them before," the four-legged beast replied. So the old woman sent them home with a wave of her hand. Then the boy became very sad indeed. He thanked her for her troubles and continued on his way. As he was walking, he spotted a third hermit's shack atop a huge rock, and he arrived there as the sun was setting. He walked into the shack and saw that this woman was even older than the two before her. "Good evening, old lady." "You are fortunate that you greeted me so politely, or else I would have had eagles tear you to shreds. What are you doing in this place that has never been seen by man or beast before?" So the boy told her the story of his journey. "Don't be sad, my child. I am sure that tomorrow we shall hear something about your sisters." Then she made the boy something to eat and made his bed. As soon as the sun came up, the two of them stood at the front door and the old woman blew hard on a whistle. All the winged creatures of the world gathered around the house in a blink of an eye. The old woman inspected the birds and then said angrily, "Someone is missing." Soon a raven arrived and one of its wings was bleeding. "As soon as I heard your whistle, I began to fly here, but while I was flying, I saw a tall red tower. Tower was so tall that it stuck up through the clouds. And the noise the jackdaws made in that tower was worse than anything I had ever heard before, so I decided to rest a while and listen for myself. People passing by made mention of 12 jackdaws. They said that they had been living there for some years now and never let anyone go near them. But as I was eavesdropping, a hunter came along and shot a bullet into one of my wings. That is why I was late to arrive." Yours was the story we needed. You other birds can go now. So now you know where to go. Your efforts will not be in vain. When you arrive outside the tall red tower, lay these bones down on the ground and think of me. He He set out once more, and after many days he arrived at the tall red tower. He did as the woman told him, and the 2 bones grew into a long ladder, and he could climb up to the jackdaws. He entered a large room where he found 11 of the jackdaws away, and the 12th in the form of a girl. The others were away collecting food. The young girl was afraid at first, but soon she became braver. She showed the boy around their home and explained all that she knew. Then the boy confessed that he was in fact their brother, and he had found them at last. Then they heard the noise of the jackdaws flying home again. So the young girl said, "Hide yourself quickly, because if I am unable to explain who you are, they will surely peck your eyes out." So the girl hid the boy in the 7th room. The 11 jackdaws soon arrived home, where they did a somersault and turned back into girls. Then the eldest of all said, "I can smell the presence of a stranger." And she tossed furniture around in her frantic search for the stranger. Then the youngest girl calmed her sisters and said, "When we left our father's house, our mother was heavy with child. She gave birth to a boy. That boy has spent many months looking for us, and now he is here to take us home to our mother and father. I hid him because I was afraid you would do him harm, because you didn't know why he was here or why he had come." Then the girls went to their brother, and they all embraced him. Before starting home, they all swore to always be good from now on. They climbed down the ladder, and the boy led them home. When they returned to the home of their birth, their mother and father were overjoyed to see their 12 daughters again. From that day on, the girls behaved so very well that they were the pride of their village. All 12 of them found a husband within the year, and all got happily married. And their brave brother found a pretty girl to be his bride, and they all lived happily ever after. Hungarian Folk Tales. The Princess, 3 Pigs, and 3 Birthmarks. Once upon a time, there lived a poor man who had a wife. After a time, they had saved enough money to buy a piglet. They enjoyed rearing their piglet very much, but their happiness was not complete. They still did not have a child of their own. One day the wife told her husband, "I think I might be pregnant." "Maybe you are mistaken." After a few days, the husband said to his wife, "I think the pig might be pregnant." "Maybe you are mistaken. It must have eaten too much and its belly is fat." The months passed and their son was born. The man was happy. He went to the pigsty to feed the pig, and what did he see there? 3 little piglets had also been born that day. Everyone in the house was happy. As the young boy grew up, he took the pigs to graze in the meadow at the end of the king's garden. The boy had a flute, and he liked to play it for the pigs to dance. One day, the young princess saw the pigs dancing in the meadow below. "For how much will you sell me a dancing pig?" "For no money at all if you lift your skirt to your knee." "What use is that to you? Would you rather not have a bag of gold?" But the boy said he did not want the gold. Then the princess suddenly changed her mind and lifted up her skirt to her knee. And the boy gave her a pig. When he arrived home in the evening, his father asked the boy, "Where is the missing pig?" "The wolf has taken it. He will pay the price." The boy returned to the king's garden with his pigs the very next day, where the princess saw him and asked again, "For how much money will you sell me a second dancing pig? For the first one will not dance alone." "For no money at all if you lift your skirt up to your waist." "Would you rather not have a bag of gold?" But the boy said he did not want the gold. The princess hesitated for a second and then pulled her skirt up to her waist. And the boy gave her the second pig. When the boy arrived home that night, his father asked, "Where is the second missing pig?" "The wolf has taken him. It will pay the price." On the third day, the boy went back to the same place with his last pig, where he found the princess waiting for him. "For how much will you sell me the third dancing pig, because the first two will not dance without the third?" "For no money at all if you lift your skirt up to your neck." Then the boy gave her the third pig along with his flute. When the boy arrived home that night, his father asked, "Where is the third missing pig?" "The wolf took it, father. It said it would pay the price." "The wolf has no money." "It has, father. It has a lot. And now I shall go and collect the price for the pigs." When the boy arrived at the palace gates, a guard asked him, "What do you want here, little boy?" "I came to the princess to get the price for my pigs." The guard went to the princess and told her that a boy had come to be paid for the 3 pigs. The princess simply said, "Fill a bag with gold and give it to him." The boy arrived home again and poured all the gold out onto a table. The boy's mother and father had never seen so much money in their lives before. The next day, the king announced that his daughter had 3 birthmarks on her body, and any man who could tell him where they were could marry her. But any man who made a mistake would be beaten for his troubles. Hearing this, the boy said, "Father, go to the market and buy me the strongest horse, the finest saddle, a beautiful suit, and a silver sword, but do not bargain and pay the proper price." And off the boy set for the royal palace. As he was riding, he met a prince and a young baron, who asked the boy, "Where are you going, young knight?" "I'm riding where I like." "What is your name?" "It is what it is." "Look, let's ride with him. He knows a lot of jokes." And from then on, they called him the Joker. As they were riding, the sun set and they found themselves on the shore of a large lake. After the boy fell asleep, the prince and the baron drove a stick into the centre of the lake and fastened the boy's horse to it. When the boy woke, he saw what they had done to his horse, but he did not say a word. But he cut the hide on the legs of the other horses and rolled it up to the knee. Then he fell asleep again. When morning came, they shouted, "Get up, Joker! You are a lazy fellow. Look, your horse swam to the middle of the lake to quench its thirst." "That's right, and yours rolled their trousers up to go and save it." All 3 reached the palace the next day. There were many princes, barons and gypsies gathered, but none of them knew where the princess had her birthmarks, and each received 60 strokes of the cane for his troubles. The baron thought it best to go in with the boy, as he might find out the answers. The boy said, "Venus is shining on her delicate belly." "That's right," said the king. "Why did you say that? That was exactly what I wanted to say." "The sun and the moon radiate their beams from her bosoms." "That's right," came the reply. "That was exactly what I wanted to say," said the young baron. The courtiers began to discuss the result. Their decision was that the princess and the 3 young men should go to the same bed, and the one she turns to will be her husband. And that's what they did. The boy had a good stock of sweets and cakes in his pockets, and he ate them noisily. "What are you eating?" the baron asked. "The heel of my boot." "Take off your boot and eat its heel." So the baron tore the heel off his boot and offered a part to the princess. "Please have some, my dear." The princess could not chew the leathery heel, and she kicked the baron out of the bed. Then she turned towards the boy, who gave her sweets and cakes. The next morning the door was opened, and they saw that only the boy was in the bed, while the baron hid in shame. The baron got 60 strokes for feeding the princess with the heel of his boot, and another 60 strokes because he did not know the whereabouts of her birthmarks. And so the boy married the princess, and they had a fabulous feast, and all were invited, both rich and poor.